Welcome back to Conscious Evolution and another episode of Behind the Veil. We are wearing masks because, well, I don't really have a reason.
Yeah, no reason.
No reason at all. Oh my God. How's everybody doing?
Shit out of you. And we are 6 feet apart.
Yep, we're 6
We've
feet apart.
measured it.
Keep your distance, everybody.
Yeah. You might feel love. You might feel hugs. You might feel love frequency. You might feel human behavior. You might feel sympathy and empathy. You might feel compassion. You might actually feel something if you get close to somebody, something good, something delicious, something tasty, something human. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we
Then
can't.
you take your mask off and you might just see a smile. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, man, you're warm, you know, and you have a different train of thought. You're out in the sunshine and grass is greener, sky's bluer, and you're just like, wow, human being. I don't even like humans. I didn't think I even liked these people. I'm starting to see that I actually like their smile. They're beautiful. Whoever it is, they don't even have to have teeth, man. Smile at me, baby. That song, what is it? It's Crosby, Stills, Nash Young. If you smile at me, I will understand. That is something everybody everywhere does in the same language. What was the name of the song? It was Crosby, Stills, Nash Young that did that. That's a good song, man. But yeah, that's common language, a smile. You know what I mean? The one thing that everybody on this planet shares, it's a facial expression that you can't help. It just comes across you. You're not taught that. Your parents don't say, hey, go like this when you're happy, make your mouth go up like this. It's fucking an expression that actually it's a symbol that we're all part of the same thing. It's the actual thing that shows that we are actually the exact same thing. It's the one thing that they got. The one thing, smile.
Yeah. And they want you to cover it up.
Cover that motherfucker.
They want you to cover it up.
They want to cover it up.
In a lot of places. I get customers from all over the place, all the states up and down the coast, even down in the Midwest and West Coast. People come from all over the country to our little dealership here in the middle of nowhere. But I hear a lot of different things, and all these different places have different rules and regulations. But now in the middle of summer, so it's like, I didn't really, we weren't planning on talking about this, but this is just kind of how this conversation started today before we started recording. But it's just,
this is how we do.
It's frustrating because it's in the middle of summer. It's 100 degrees outside, and we're supposed to wear a mask to keep from spreading this virus, which is essentially the flu. It's just a pretty nasty flu. Well, I could understand maybe wearing a mask if you're sick. If you're sick at all, you should wear a mask. That's what other cultures do. People that are sick wear a mask so they don't contaminate others around them. But it's 100 degrees outside, and you're still forcing people to wear masks. And a lot of places are forcing people to wear masks outside.
Listen to this. This is going to really blow your mind. Okay, I want to use Florida as an example. I've got friends in California, but I don't know exactly what's going on there. But I do know some shit's going on in Florida. And, Florida is like supposedly shut down. If you Google Florida, it's the hot spot. It's a mega, just like California. It's blowed up. It's one of the worst. And you're not even allowed on the beaches or the bars are shut down, this and that, right? So my brother, who had bought in Panama City there, is that what it's called? What's this? Yeah, Panama City, is that what it is? The hub right there in the Emerald Coast or whatever. He had already bought these rooms in a condo a year ago, done paid for them. And so I told you, okay, let me tell this story real quick so everybody is saying that for a while on the beach, you had to literally wear a mask. Then now you're not even allowed on the beach. Supposedly, this is what Google, the news, YouTube, people who control the narrative, this is what you're hearing. So, but if you talk to actual people that you know who are there, you hear a different narrative. So two different families. One of them, there was a family of four. I told you about this that went in. This is just this week. This happened this week. They went in to get tested because they have testing. They're opening up for testing there. Yeah, probably everywhere. But anyway, and then a separate guy who went in, you know, in Sarasota. But both of these people got tired of waiting. They had already signed up. They went in there. They got tired of waiting. A couple hours went by, and they said, "Fuck this. We'll come back later." Right? So they leave. 2 days later, these people in two different hospitals in Florida. One guy gets a call. This family gets a call. The family, they tell them all four of them have the COVID-19. They tell this guy that, and the guy's like, "Dude, ma'am," or whoever, nurse, whatever, "we didn't even get tested." She said, "Well, we have here that you guys have, all four of you are tested positive." He said, "We did not take a test," you know, this kind of shit. So that's one thing that's happening. Okay. Obviously that is where the numbers are coming from. Number two, so my brother, I'm talking to him, me and him don't talk a lot, but we're talking last night, and he was telling me, well, we're getting ready to take it off because we're having a graduation party for my granddaughter. Anyway, so and I was trying to get him to come over and play music. Him and his son, they pick around like the rest of us. But anyway, he said, well, we're leaving on the 25th, going to Florida. So going to Florida, dude, they're shut down. The fucking bars are shut down. He said, dude, I've been on the phone every other day with the chick in the condo that we are staying at because we stayed there last year. They've actually stayed there a couple times in the last few years. And he said, she's telling me that it's 70%. They're supposed to be wearing masks. The beach is open. People are supposed to be social distancing, but they're not. They're not wearing a mask. She said, but if you go 30, 40 miles down the road at this other beach, you do have to wear a mask, and they're literally arresting people in that area. And this is one of those, like, it's a podunk place where they don't make tons of money. You know, so it's like there's a different standard. There's a different model, if you will, the archetype, a different, theme going on than there is up here with the moolah and the cheddar's going down. So you've got these, people are, when it comes to money, people are starting to say, hey, dude, this shit is a fucking joke. This corona shit's a joke. I got to make this money while I can. So you've got these two different thoughts, people who are terrified and who are believing the news and just trusting the news and trusting their politicians on the left or right, whatever the other one is. So they're believing. They're like, well, he wouldn't lie to me. He wouldn't lie to me. I guarantee he wouldn't lie to me. And they're just following this, and they're just living in this fear. In all reality, dude, what you got to do is you got to get back up off of it, turn off that TV. You got to start talking to people and start thinking. Just start thinking and being critical in your thought. Like, could they be doing something? Could there be some underhanded shit going on? Could there be a little bit of something? If there is, should I start like maybe getting some water and some things and preparing? And this is how I feel about it. I feel like, we said in the light, we want to shine the light. We are the light. We are doing this, but what good is the light if you stay in the light and all you're doing is hanging around people in the light, and you're all in the light, and you're sitting in the sunlight, and everybody's in the light? Yay. We got to go to the dark, dude. If you want to shine your light, you're going to have to deal with the dark, because that's the place that needs the light, right? So we're going to have to talk about some things that are uncomfortable, preparing different types of, and I don't want to go off into that. My main thing I want people to do is just start thinking, just start questioning everything, like, and then once you do, you'll start to see, man, this news reporters that you've always believed in and thought, if you start to question and become just this much skeptical of anyone watching TV, you'll immediately see through it. Immediately. You're like, man, this dude is acting. And then once you come to that, then you look at all of them and you're like, oh my God, the ones in the background are acting, the ones in the foreground are acting. Every single one of them. It's, all of them. They're all acting, dude.
Well, that's why they invented the word conspiracy theory to immediately discredit anybody that talks about things that are, part of the official narrative. And have you seen the documentary Out of the Shadows yet?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
That's kind of narrative. They're pushing that right wing. It feels like it's a right wing thing, because you see isn't that the one where they're trying to make it look like the Democrats are doing the shit to the kids, but the Republicans don't, or something? They're flying to this island. That's not that one.
No. No, it's
Okay.
about a guy that was a Hollywood stuntman and worked his way up and then got an injury and that forced him to sit and and not work, and you go through all this physical therapy for months and months, and his physical therapist started telling him about like esoteric things like the demons of Hollywood, and it basically told him that he's got a lot of demons with him and he needs to let that shit go if he really wants to heal properly and get back then because he was a really fit guy. He was a stunt man. He jumped out of windows.
Right. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
And that's how he got injured, was because of that. But because of something this doctor said to him, it sparked something, and he started looking into things, and then he started remembering seeing things like these whatever dark Satan worshipers and like the statues and knives and things that they have showcased in their houses, that he's been to their houses, a lot of these Hollywood people, and the darkness that's out there in the industry, because the Hollywood is propaganda. It's out there to program you. It's there to desensitize you. It's out there to tell you how to live. You know what I mean? This is how it's supposed to be, and and he sees that, and it's a really well done documentary video. I recommend everybody to watch it if you have not already. It really, it's like everything I knew already, but they talked a lot about like Pizzagate and the whole like human trafficking almost, or
that's what I was talking about. Yeah. That goes deeper into that. There's this shit called chromium, some kind of blood that you terrorize a kid. There's this whole new narrative going on, and I don't even want to get into it, but it's some other negative bullshit. It's other shit that distracts you is what it is, and make you think that Daddy Hero's knocking down doors and saving shit. But it's all the same thing. It's a control thing to get people to trust in somebody that they fucking should not be trusting. But they're all the same, and whether any of us believe it or not, we're all going to find out in the end that they're all the same.
What was that program that the government was running? That
not Malcolm. You're talking about the mind deal? Yeah. Well, I was going to talk about that. Yeah, I can't remember the name. It's not Malcolm. I keep wanting to say Malcolm. I don't know why I want to say that. Because it's something that sounds like that, you know what I mean? But anyway, when they started that, they started the mind manipulation thing. And what they started doing, it was a marketing thing. Like there was marketers who started doing the studying and the testing, because they already knew about colors and they already knew how to calm people down. There had been people who had been studying psychology since, the 1800s, 1700s even. So they already knew how people, they've been studying how people tick, what makes them think, and then when they got this imagery thing and they could flash these images, then the war was going on and they could use propaganda. They showed, and Hitler was doing it like to a T, and then they were using this certain, where they pound this imagery and these sounds into your head, and over so long, you become conditioned to program. Well, they went through Congress. I watched this thing about it, but anyway, I think it was in the 40s and 50s. Well, anyway, the dudes who invented this, or the dudes who were doing all this, had got contacted from Hollywood. Hollywood was really interested in the way that they were using this imagery, and the way that they could lead somebody's mind and completely control the way they think, right? And this narrative, whatever this guy was talking about, I watched so much shit I can't remember. But anyway, he was talking about that's what Hollywood basically did. They came in, they figured out the nuances of the way the psyche works, and just not for marketing purposes, because marketing obviously is one of the things that they're going to use that for, but basically to completely control the way we think. That's why whenever we go to rent movies, I'm always like, why is there not more comedies? Why is there only a few and there's all this blood action, blood violence, blood shit.
Yep.
And if it's not that, it's horror. You know, like a knife coming out of a sheath and the fucking little kid standing there in a gown, fucking terrorizing you, fucking in the ring, and all that crazy, scary shit. You know, it's all that constant, and there's not enough laughter and there's not enough love movies. And I know they say, well, that shit don't sell, but who gives a fuck?
No,
you know
well, that's starting
They would
to
sell
not
if people
sell.
changed the way they thought.
It's really starting to not be a thing. And like, people want to hear more love music. You know what I mean? They want to hear more happy music. They want to see happy things. But
because they feel out of balance.
Yeah, so many people are conditioned with the news. Like, I had a lady I talked to, was a really sweet old lady. I don't want to say she was old, but you know, a middle-aged lady that was very much into like government lies to us and everything. But she was glued to the news all the time. She's like, I'm always watching the news. I never miss the news. I got to know what's going on in my area. You know, I got to know where the protesters are. I got to know where that. And I was just like, why? Why do you need to know? Like,
I gotta tell you this story, dude.
So yeah, if you want to watch the news, if you want to consume what's going on in your area, don't watch it on TV. Find a newspaper or something to where you can select the articles that you want to read about, the information that you want to read about, and let the rest of that shit go. Because there might be one article in the news that's like a feel-good story, you know what I mean? But it's going to be surrounded by things that are just drilling and programming you of fear, because they're on a major fear campaign right now. It's just like all fear. And the more the light rises up and the more the consciousness raises on this planet, the more they're going to attack on a major campaign of fear. It's just going to keep going. And
well, they have to.
It's going to get worse.
They have to.
This is just the beginning. They're just making their move right now, and it's going to get really, really bad. So until enough people get together and raise up in elevated consciousness, or not even elevated consciousness, that's going to be a natural side effect of this when you get tired of the fear, because fear it kills you. It puts your body in a stress state, and your body can't even function properly. And then you want to keep social distancing, so we can't have human interaction. You can't go hug somebody without, you know, they don't want you to do that. They don't want you to hug somebody. They don't want you to show your facial expressions, to smile at somebody, to say, you know, to just say hi, and smiling to somebody can change somebody's mood like that. You know what I mean? Immediately. So like when I'm in these stores, even the ones that are like really strict about wearing a mask, I pull my mask down and I smile at every single human being I see.
Good.
Every single one. And, you know, and people come into my work all the time with their mask on. You can't even like hardly see their eyes. You know, they got sunglasses on, and they're like, we're smiling. I know you can't see it, but we're smiling. And I'm like, you know, like, but you can't feel it. You can't feel any of that emotion because you can't see their face. And you know, a year ago, you couldn't enter into a retail establishment with a fucking mask on, because you would be robbing the place. Now you can't even tell who is who. You don't know what people look like. And it's really desensitizing people, and people are just accepting it, laying down and taking it out of fear. Fear of this disease that isn't as bad as they say it is. And it's not, the numbers are so inflated, it is absolutely absurd. More people died from the flu last year than this COVID thing.
What you have to do, like I say, this is how you gotta really look at, you gotta ask yourself, who do I know that's had it? I know a lot of people personally. And then I ask those people, I'm like, who do you know? And then there's always somebody who tells me about they heard of somebody's sister down in Florida, or they heard of somebody's brother up in Michigan, or they heard. I want to know, who do you know? Like, who do you fucking know? You go to their house, you know these people. Who do you know? You know what I mean? Who does your mom know? Who does your dad know? I mean, all these people know people. So
Well, they're
just the people that we know. I mean, we learned back when AIDS got here about sexually transmitted diseases, how, you know, we know a lot of people just by knowing a few people. So we have to keep that same thing in mind. If I talk to 10 people, those 10 people are talking to 10 people who are talking to 10. This whole fucking reach is out. Just if you just reach out and start asking, you'll see nobody.
yeah,
They're like, I don't know. I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody. So I'm not saying it's not real. I'm not saying that it isn't. I don't know. I'm just telling you, it
you know,
don't add up,
it's
and
it's
you have to start going with your own instincts. And
it's
like you said, the reason that they're, I was wanting to talk about this just real briefly. The reason that they're wanting us, not to smile, not to feel each other's energy. I'm doing a video on this, and it's play on words. It's called Conscious Evolution. Is about divine timing, and what it is. Okay, as humans, there's many root races according to certain theologies and theosophies and different things. As we evolved, consciousness came to us. We were more of a primitive consciousness, more of a lower chakra consciousness at one time, where we was extremely nothing but primitive consciousness. Moved into a heart sort of, and then into an intellectual consciousness. But it's an evolution thing, right? Well, part of this consciousness, like I told you, we're like mold. A lot of people, if you look at mold or mushrooms or grass, it looks like one big, but if you take it separate, and people think, well, I'm separate. No, you're part of something. And so as our evolution, not just individually, grows as a conscious, like, I'm going to use this for an example. Let's say that when the dude invented the piano, and he started playing the piano, and he taught his friend to play the piano. This friend learned how to play the piano twice as fast as him, because the information that this guy learned and put into the Akashic, right? Because we're feeding off of each other's intellect. It's in the ether. All of the Akashic records, all the information, all of our feelings, all of our emotions, all of our thoughts, everything there is out here, and it's alive. It looks invisible. But like you said, it's pliable. You can almost cut it with a knife. You can feel tension. You can feel love. You can feel when it gets intense, and a lot of people are feeling it. You can feel that shit, right? It's because we are connected. So as we've evolved, and as there becomes billions and billions of people on this planet, and more of us, like, I hate using the word fungi and mold, but it is something that just keeps growing and growing and taking over and growing and growing, like moss or something, And that's what we are. But we're a thinking organism that thinks together. Even trees work together. Trees will, if there's a tree dying, the other roots will come in and help feed that tree to keep it alive. We are connected. So that what they're trying to do is, they know that now more than ever, as we have evolved to this point, we've come to this point of reaching close to divinity, or reaching close to ascension, or reaching this thing that they're trying to keep us from finding, this thing that all the esoteric information that we find in all the past generations of history way back, we know there's something. We know there's something golden. We know there's light. We know we can get there. We know we're fucking close. They know we're close. And when we get it, we're going to flip the switch. It's going to happen just like that, dude. It's going to flip. They know this, dude. It's going to flip. We're going to take everything.
That's exactly the thing. The switch has already been flipped.
Right.
We've already hit critical mass to where there's a large enough amount of people that has set this in motion, that there's too much momentum for it to stop, no matter what they do. And what they are doing and how they're going on these massive fear campaigns. Cryon said this 2 years ago. He said it 2 years ago, that what do you think's going to happen when the light keeps growing? How do you think they're going to combat that? They're going to go on a massive campaign of fear. And that's
right.
What's going on right now. We all in this spiritual community, when we started waking up, all felt this sense of urgency to really learn as much as possible, to really, you know, at least for me, and I know a lot of other people had that quickening. Like we went through a lot of experiences really fast, and it was like extreme growth over a very short period of time. And I can't explain. I just knew I had to do it. And that's
Yeah.
why I did everything I did in the last year. I just knew I had to learn these lessons in this life and have these experiences, meet the people that I met. I met my soul family, you know what I mean?
Right.
And from Jump Street. But that's what we gotta do, and that's what's happening. And more people are being drawn to the light. More and more people are being drawn to esoterics, to energy healing. Like I see probably about 50% of people, because I tell everybody what I do. Everybody, I tell everybody I flew to California to go to a seminar to be certified in energy healing. And if they ask, oh, well, what do what kind of energy is that? Like Reiki? I'm like, oh, so you know about energy healing? That's cool. And then I'll go into it from there. But everybody, about 50% of people now, instead of not asking or just completely avoiding and changing the subject, about half the people are like
Engaging
about it, engaging. They're leaning in a little bit instead of like, whoa. Like when this happened to me in 2017, when I started telling people about this stuff, or 2018 is when with the energy work, they were pushing away. And I think it has a lot to do with the consciousness of the planet at the time, with the consciousness, the collective. But now it's changed that much over 2 years. And like, when you see the human resonance spiking like it is, that's because this planet is being bombarded with energies that are transforming us, transforming our DNA. And that's why, they don't want you to go outside. They want you to stay in your house. They don't want you to be within 6 feet of anyone, which doesn't really matter because our energy fields are so massive. Our energy fields are like 24 or 26 feet across. So you got 12 feet on either end of your energy field.
Especially if you really, really, really invest in an emotion. Like if it'll go further out, like you said, 20, 30 feet, it'll go 50 feet. If you're an angry, mad, gonna kill motherfucker shit going on, people will feel that 50 feet out. If you're love frequency and you're peaceful and you're smiling and nodding and people are like, hey, calm down, guy, everything's good, and you're that guy and you're the guy who's shedding that light, dude, that shit can be, and these people will move towards you and gravitate in because they need it right now. I was wanting to just real quickly, you had talked about how things have sped up for you. Terrence McKenna, this dude done a lot of psilocybin, whatever it's called, done a lot of DMT, done a lot of tripping. He was a deep thinking dude. I love this dude. But he focused he said his whole intention when he would go into these trips to trying to decipher time, to try to figure out what time is. And he come to this conclusion during this, that consciousness and our thoughts affect the speed, how fast, even though we're, the sun goes around and there's another set of time that's going, like he said, when this planet sat here and done nothing, was molten lava for 1 million, 2 million, 3 million years, and it just sat here and finally cooled and started to turn into something. Do you think there was more being done? I mean, do you think the time in that 3 million years is longer than what happens at Wall Street in 10 minutes when the fucking Dow's dropping by thousands of points and all that consciousness and all that energy and all them fucking people? Do you think more is happening? Do you think that's more time? Or do you think that, and then you start to calculate what's being created, what's being destroyed, what's being created and destroyed in that amount of time. How much thoughts and how much love and how much energy is being crammed into that amount of time. That's how time speeds up. And he talked about this ramping of time and how things feel like they're speeding up because things are speeding up. That's why I was trying to use that analogy about the piano. This dude plays piano in the Akashic. He puts that out there. This guy's faster. Next thing you know, somebody over in Italy hears about the piano, and this guy over here hears it, and they get it, and this all of a sudden this dude is just like, he's never even had a teacher, and he's just playing the shit out, you know, because he's picking up something, he's gathering something from somewhere that these guys put out there, right?
Yeah.
So we know this is just, if people, like you said, people are leaning in now because people are realizing we're not separate, we are connected. And they're starting to feel the separation because they're ripping us apart, and they're making it obvious. It's so obvious that they're ripping us apart that people are just like, I mean, there's nothing like pain and fear and discomfort that'll make a human being change and flip. If you do it slow to them, you know, you can fuck them up over time. But boy, man, you come up and bash them like they're doing us. People are just like, hey, whoa, you know, we're going to. Hopefully, I'm really hoping that there's a surge and people just stand up, get up, stand up.
There's gonna be a point that happens in the near future to where it comes out the truth of this whole situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I believe
it's gonna be inside whistleblowers that are gonna come out and say, this isn't what we were told it was. We, you know, really overreacted. We crashed the economy. We did this, we did that, all because of this. And when that comes out, because that's how they don't realize they're fucking themselves right now, because they're just so scared of us and us learning of our connection with source, of our connection with everyone, how we're all connected, because they're the people in power are truly jealous of us and the freedom that we have to be able to access those levels of consciousness, to be able to be free within our minds and think, because they're stuck in a box. They're stuck in that world. Even though they chose it or were born into it, they can't get out. They cannot get out without dying. That's just how it is. Once you're in click, you're in it and for life. And they are truly envious of you and your power and your freedom and your ability to do what you want, to go travel the country if you want. So they're trying to keep people from doing that. And in doing that, it's kind of backing people into a wall, into a corner. You know what I mean? And you can only back people into a corner for so long.
Yeah.
And people are compliant because of the fear. But once that fear is you know, that the veil is lifted on what's really going on here, when that happens, people are going to lose their shit. People are going to be pissed because they've been, you know, the good obeying citizens that are doing, you know, just trying to do what they're supposed to do, and they have to do now by law in order to keep making a living, in order to keep putting food on the table and a roof over their heads. That's how they're getting you. And then it's kind of how it's probably going to go with, you know, a lot of other things. So I don't really want to get into that that much conspiracy with this program. I want to go more towards the light. But that's in essence what's happening and how I see it unfold in the future, because this can only last for so long, and it's already starting to where, you know, they're saying Florida's shut down again. They're saying California's shut down. A friend of mine had a trip planned to go out to LA in a couple weeks and fly to LA, rent a car, and travel up the coast. Well, she can't do that now because they've closed California again, the whole state. So they don't want people to go. They don't want people to travel. They don't want people to have fun. They don't want people to get out. They don't want groups of people to get together and meditate. You know what I mean? There was a thing I seen recently. I forget what it was, in some like Buddhist country where they had 1 million children together meditating at the same time. So they took every school in that like nation or that area or province, whatever they call it, and they got them all together, and they had them all outside in line, you know, like how people do at mosque. They're all lined up and they bow and do the thing. Well, these children were all lined up like that, meditating.
That's groovy, dude. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and if we have more people to do that, Like I have an alarm on my phone every day at 4 o'clock to stop and practice gratitude and appreciation and love and healing for the planet, for mankind, for humanity. And
Right.
I don't get to do it every day, but that alarm tells me that it's time to be grateful, that it's time for the heal the collective. And I put those thoughts out there because none of your thoughts are really your own. You're really just tapping into that field that's around you. We are just
Right.
a very advanced biological computers, essentially, that is driven by consciousness, by our spirit. That's what we are. We are avatars living this temporary human experience. You know, we come in as a child, your spirit takes into the body, and you go through that veil of forgetfulness. And your mission in life is your challenge, I guess, for yourself in a higher
Yeah.
realm is
The one you chose.
to
Yeah.
remember who you are, to remember your connection to source. And that's what people are doing now in the masses, and the people in charge that have been controlling everything with fear, and that everything they've been doing has been shut down and or behind closed doors in the dark alleys, and no one really knew what was going on. And if anyone figured it out, they would just silence them one way or another. And,
Yeah.
but now they can't control that, and things are coming out, and people are coming out, and we have the age of information with the internet, and they're not going to close that down. We're supported, dude. Like they're not going to let the internet go down. Our support is so vast. It is so vast. You can't even begin to comprehend the amount of support that we have for the light on this planet right now. You can't see it, but it's there. You're always surrounded by a team of angels and spirits and guides. There's extraterrestrial crafts everywhere that people are seeing and connecting with consciously, and they're like listening to your conscious thought and obeying. You're like, oh no, don't go yet, you know, come back. And they'll stop and come back. Like the abilities you have as a human being are so powerful, so powerful that you haven't even begun to comprehend your abilities. And right now,
Right.
in this season, in this time where we're sitting here, this is the time to tap into that power. This is the time to start recognizing who you really
Yeah.
are. If you haven't
Right.
already, you started to really start tapping into that, to feel that power, to connect with your guides. I just did
Well,
a meditation
biologically,
on
you
the
know,
beach to connect with your family of light. So that was a couple videos ago. Go check that out. That's just the beginning. You do that meditation every single day, you will be amazed at how you feel. I do it every day. And I'm going to shift gears for a little bit and kind of go into what I wanted to talk to about originally as our experiences as of recently. And my experience, and I've reached out to everybody in my healing community, Bonesy and Kim, and Ed and Sherry, and Kat. I got Kat back in. We did a lot of healing work for her because she's a very powerful medium. She has super powers, dude. Like I'm impressed and all at it, and I tell her that, and at the same time, she's impressed and in all at what I can do with my abilities. But I had this situation where there was a friend of mine whose house is kind of being terrorized by things that are not so benevolent, right? And it's a really negative energy. You can feel it. You can really feel it when you go there. Even me, like when I encounter darkness on an esoteric, invisible level, I can't explain it, but I feel like it's kind of what I'm meant to do, because ever since I was a kid, when I would like command darkness to leave when I felt things, because when I was a child I had scary experiences with things moving around me, but looking back I don't think they were negative. I was just programmed through watching movies like The Exorcist and what the Christian church had told me about it, that they were demons, and I think they were just my guides trying to contact me and let me know that they were there. But I don't know, when I encounter that darkness that's not visible, I have the light in me just I don't even have to do anything. But if I set an intention and really harness the power, it's unbelievable what I've been able to do recently.
Right.
I just feel like the light just literally like comes from my heart and just surrounds me in a bubble, like to where nothing can penetrate that light. And I can set that out pretty far. I can push that light out through like the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like I push these entities out. And with Kat helping, I've had Bonesy and them helping, doing healing, doing, you know, meditating and praying for us. And these people in need of help, because it's this person and their child are kind of being terrorized by these entities that feed on fear, and they're always around you. You know, you even when you're surrounded by angels, there's always one there that's, you know, because this is a free choice, you know, human existence. There's always one there that's ready to feed on that negative energy, because as soon as you take that negative, and they set kind of traps in your mind, so they'll set it up, and if you take that bait, boom, you're going down that line, and they set another trap. Boom, you take that bait, you're going down. Now you're building momentum for that negative mindset, those negative thoughts, and then they're feeding on that energy. Energy vampires is exactly what they are in an etheric realm. So when you go down those things, remember that the thoughts are not your own. You're just picking up on the thoughts. You're just being triggered by something that's outside of yourself to think of something that was traumatizing to you. And if you go down that in a fear-based way, then that's kind of what's going on. If you go down that way and face it, do the shadow work in essence, and you can transmute that into light. You know, you can release that trauma, because that trauma is energy stored somewhere in your body. So when that comes up, you sit with that, you love it, love whatever comes up, and you just allow that energy to move through you, because our bodies are energy processing units. So just allow that energy to move through you, and then you won't be affected by it anymore. But
I promise you this, dude. There's a lot of people I know, I've been this way too. But when you get to that point where you do work that, you know, you work through that problem, and usually you figure out that the problem is you. You're the person with the hang up. It's an expectation, unrealistic expectation or something to that effect, that basically you're waiting on this person to say something or fix something, or you're wanting to have this argument, this dialogue in your head, whatever. But once you finally get to that and you deal with that, you can truly like deal with it, man, you're like, you just see how little of energy to deal with it takes, like half the energy than all of the energy you spend all day long arguing in your head with this person, you know, and saying this, and then you imagine they're saying that, or how, whatever the thing is, the dynamic that goes on, this negative thought, like you said, and it could be something they did in the past, and you just, why did they do that to me? I've always been good to them. They shouldn't do this to me because I've been that kind of a person to them, or how come they don't love me like I love them, or whatever. You know, there's always these things that where that person just can't meet our expectation, and we just can't live with it, you know. So here we are suffocating. Here we are just beating ourselves up and giving them the power. And it's not so much giving them the power, because they don't even know. They don't know you're over here thinking this shit. They don't even, and some of them, if they did, they would love it. You know what I mean? They'd be like, I wish they just do the text. You know what I mean?
Think about it this way real quick. If you are letting someone influence your mind and thoughts to that degree, you are making them your God.
Yeah.
Think of it that way, because you're allowing them to consume and take space in your mind rent free. They have no idea that you're thinking that way, and it's really truly nothing that they did. It's just your perception of what they did to you and how you think of it. If you change your perception of whatever happened and you take responsibility for it, even if it wasn't your fault or you don't think it was your fault, it doesn't matter, because there's a million different perceptions of every single aspect or event or anything that's happening in your life. So All you
Yeah.
have to do is frame it in a new light, because I'm going to see a different perspective than Bones is going to see it, than the next person, than
Right.
anybody else. There's 7
Yeah.
billion unique expressions of source on this planet that all have a different perspective.
Yeah.
It's the point of this experience.
I've had people here recently, a couple people come up and just, they're talking about something and they're pissed at somebody. And they start telling me what they did. And I'm sitting there waiting like for something else because they're madder than hell. And I'm like, that's it? That's what you're so pissed. And they're like, what do you mean that's what? Well, you don't get it? You don't get it? You don't even see what I'm talking about? You don't understand? I'm like, dude, you're like, maybe they were like having a bad day. Or, I try to explain from the other person's perspective that they could be, maybe they misunderstood, try to show them all these different ways that they could be taking it wrong. And, oh, man, that's like, oh, no. That person had to have been doing this to them. You know what I mean? And so there's that,
victim mentality. It's a victim mentality, and that's where a lot of people are still at. It's all about me,
We're being programmed on TV all day to be victims of everything. Yep. They're taking your prayer, they're taking your race, they're taking your religion, they're taking this, they're taking your money, they're taking. Now you're going to die of a flu. You're going to do the. Oh my God, you know what I mean? I swear to God, everything starts with TV, and that's why I said, I'll say it again. That's why 60-inch TVs are like $300, dude. I mean, think about this. Mm-hmm. Think about this. You can't even. You can get a TV that'll destroy your life for $300. You know what I mean? Cheap.
Yeah. Cheap. And it's a good TV. I looked at TVs recently. You can get a 75-inch TV for $600 and a really high quality one. I think I found one for like $5. It was like $4.95.
It's crazy, ain't it? It's insane.
I thought about it, but I don't even need it. I mean, I got a 48-inch plasma TV.
But if you think about that,
and I turn it on maybe for 30 minutes a week.
Yeah.
Maybe. That is the only, and when I do, I'm watching YouTube things, or I'm watching documentaries like Out of the Shadows or Stephen Greer's documentary, which I really highly recommend everybody watch, especially if you're into conspiracies or any kind of alien like ET stuff. Dr. Stephen Greer has just released a new documentary called, I think it's Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind or something like that. But it's really well done, and he talks a lot about consciousness. He did, when I was first getting into this with the fear and the aliens, this was in 2017, he released his first documentary film. I can't remember what it was called, but it was powerful, and it talked about the black ops programs of the government that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? The government within the government that essentially it runs things, but doesn't really
shadow government.
Yeah. And he called them unacknowledged special access programs, to where they run anywhere from false UFO abductions to other kinds of fear campaigns, and it's really good, and it's crazy because he's an insider and he has all the whistleblowers, and he's very thorough. He's a doctor. He knows his shit, and that one was more fear-based. You know what I mean? But he was just trying to bring to light the things that are real and possible in this world that we have no clue about. Like, their technology is hundreds of years more advanced than what we have, and with that, the actual government and the army and the normal military don't have access to that, and they're 20, 30, 40 years ahead of what we have. But then this new one he released, he didn't really talk about that at all. He talked about the ETs in his experience, because when he saw like a spacecraft or a flying saucer, whatever you want to call it, when he was like 18 or 16 years old, he saw it, and he didn't think about like what was it. He knew it was not from this planet, but he started thinking, well, who was driving it? intelligence is driving that thing? You know, who's
Yeah.
in? And that's the question that you should ask, not like, where did it come from? Who's driving it? Or what is that thing? Well, who's in there? What consciousness, what intelligence is there? And that's part of the armada of support that we have. And they're at such a high level, they're able to shift densities. They're able to stay in the fifth dimension, sixth dimension, or in the astral realm to where we can't perceive them, to where things in this reality and this density can't affect them. And there's a
Right.
lot of evidence for that if you're into UFO conspiracies. You know what I'm talking about. But Dr. Stephen Greer, if you want to go through full 2 years of research that I've done intensely, if you want to learn it in 3 hours, you go watch those 2 documentaries. It'll tell you everything you need to know. But the new one, the Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind, is really powerful, and he goes and talks about the consciousness and how they are scared of us in growing consciousness, and how they envy us in growing in consciousness, and how we're able to do that. And like he's had meetings with all the presidents since Clinton about the extraterrestrials, because now the narrative with the ETs, they're coming out with disclosure, but they're making it as a threat, like they're a threat to us. And he says, you got to be kidding me. He's like, the technology they have, they've never once attacked us. They've never once harmed us. They've never once done anything bad towards us. And the technology they have could literally destroy every single one of us if they chose to. So he's like, if in actions we've taken, trying to shoot down their ships and trying to capture them and take their technology, and they have still yet to never fire upon us. You know what I mean? So they're trying to get this fear campaign, and they tried to get him into the fear, and he was like, please. He's like, you can't get me there. He's like, you don't have. If they wanted us gone, we would be gone. The fact is, they've been here for decades, for millennia, for tens or hundreds of thousands of years. They've always been here. And they've never.
I think some of them are us.
I think some of them are us from the future.
Yeah.
That's what they're, you know.
Yeah, and it's wild, man, because he has this SETI group. You know SETI, the extraterrestrial contact program that was created in the 70s, where they sent out this golden record. It was literally like a vinyl record made out of gold, but it had hello and different greetings for every language on the planet. It had our DNA structures on it, like our, the triple helix or double helix or whatever it's called. And the genuine, like the basic shape of our humanoid selves. And they sent that out there with our galaxy, with our constellation, our sun and the planets that revolve that, all in like a binary way. It would be really easy to decipher, especially for any intelligent life.
Right.
And I forget how long it was. It was kind of recent. We got a reply. And right next to the SETI satellite, to where they sent it out, they left a crop circle with the exact same image, but with them. So it had like a picture of their face in a digital, binary thing. It had their DNA structure, their appearance, and their constellation and galaxy from where they are from.
Oh shit! Yeah, send me that.
Fonts, dude. And they left it in a crop circle right next to the SETI satellite, where they sent this thing up at. But nobody knows about that. You know what I mean? Like, this is the kind of stuff that is really happening on this planet, and they want you so distracted with your phone, with the news, with the viruses that are these pandemics and shutting down the world. Like, they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that you're powerful, because they're scared to death. Because as soon as we realize that, they have no other function in this world.
Well, the truth is, they can. This is
like I said, this conscious evolution is about divine timing. We can't be stopped. I mean, it's already written. It's already going to be done. There's nothing that they can do. They're going to do everything they can, and it's going to be painful. It's going to get bumpy, and it's going to get nasty. But at the end of the day, the light always wins. The light always wins. The light always wins. And, you had talked about the aliens. We take ourselves, we think we're so important. A lot of these people, the reason that they haven't attacked us, we're nothing. We're part of the planet. Earth herself is also going through conscious evolution. Earth herself, with the water molecules on her, that's where memory's in the water. Everything's in the water. But Earth herself is spiraling or going there, as we, I don't know, which direction we're heading through the galaxies and through the, but Earth herself is spiraling, spiraling at the same time turning. And we turn, I think, counterclockwise, and I think the galaxy goes the other direction, whatever. So we're like, in all reality, we're not really moving through time. We're staying still. If you was to take everything that turns this way and then take the other shit that turns this way. But anyway, that's some weird shit that I think. But so my point is that the planet, they're not here for us. There's something on this planet, and what they're doing, in my mind, there's I don't know what the planet's doing, but man, it's going through an energetic change. That's why we've all been feeling, these frequencies, because we're biological, we're a chemical, we're an electromagnetic reaction. We're like two cells that split, they split into four, they split into eight. This starts to happen. Your heart pumps out a fucking electrical charge. Your feet hit the ground, you get the negative, the sun gives you the positive. You're literally a walk around biological thing that's evolving, and you're electromagnetic. You're so much more than what you think. You just think you're this whatever. Man, you're like a computer. You literally are like you have these bits of information, and you have this functionality. You have this flow like your computer. Like you get too much shit in it, it slows way down because you've got your shit all screwed up. And we're the same way. To get your shit smoothed out. But I don't know where I'm going. I don't even know where I was at. But I was talking about the planet. I was talking about the aliens, and I'm talking about how our evolution is part of her evolution. We're part of her. That's why they call her mother. It's like the hairs on our arm. It's part of us. Them hairs think they're separate. They think they're different. They don't understand it. They are part of us. And that's what we are. We are part of her. She's hurting right now. She's hurting. We're tearing her to shreds. And people are feeling it. People are like, we're like the hairs. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. And we're going to be like, stop, and it's going to get better. You know what I mean? It has to. And that's what
everything here was designed for us. The planet and everything about it was designed for us to have this experience. Because essentially, this is a test of energy. You've said that several times too. This is a test of energy here. So everything is designed in here to support us in our life, to support the life here. Everything has a purpose. How the planet automatically filters itself. And the way it does that, the way it renews the oceans, is by going through a cold spell. So that's what we're in right now, this grand solar minimum. The Earth is changing, but Earth is so connected to us that it started changing when we passed the marker. When we said we weren't going to destroy ourselves for a fifth time, then we passed the marker, and the planet is in agreement with that. So if we were going to destroy ourselves, the planet would have been in agreement with that and would have helped us. And that's exactly like on a higher plane, you know what I mean?
Right.
But since we have collectively, consciously decided that we are going to ascend. This planet has now reached ascension status. So Gaia is supporting that. So Gaia is changing and going through this cycle. It's just a weather cycle. It'll be known as that in the future. It'll all become, once it's realized, because we haven't been here long enough with, documenting the weather and the cycles to see a full weather cycle, because every so often the earth goes through these changes, and they can see it in the old core samples and ice samples, and the people that study it can see all the other minimums and maximums that we've gone through, like solar minimums and maximums. But the planet refreshes its oceans by the weather, so it's going to get cold. We're heading towards a mini ice age. Not heading, we're here. We're there right now. So the winters are going to get colder. The summers are going to get hotter. The temperature is going to change in different locations. Where it snowed and always snowed before, it's not going to snow anymore. Where it never snowed before, it's going to snow all the time. I don't know where and how, but our system of collecting water is going to have to change. Our system of electricity in the grid is going to have to change, because none of it is going to work during this new thing. So we're in a way being forced to evolve with our ecosystem, with our electrical systems, our grid and everything. So, and they have the technology to do it. So it's going to have to get to a point to where they know this already. They know all. That's why they don't update the infrastructure, because they know it's just not going to work, and they're not going to put the money into rebuilding the old infrastructure. They're going to use it and milk it as long as possible until they have completely figured out a way to implement the new technology to where it has people pay, like the same thing when you pay your light bill. You know what I mean? It's going to be the same thing, but it's just going to be a new, cleaner technology, and it's already out there. It's already working. And look for things in electromagnetic fields, electromagnetic machines. Two magnets opposing each other will run together forever without power. It doesn't need power. It's self-generated power with magnetism. And I got all this from Cryon. His Cryon is teaching us and showing us the way, but he doesn't give us anything that isn't already in motion. So these ideas, just like the airplane, they're put into the ethers, and these people pick up on them and start designing and inventing these things. So we invented the airplane first with the Wright brothers, but the French were 2 weeks behind us. They also invented the same thing on another part of the planet, that in the time where we didn't communicate with each other like this.
Right.
So they had no idea. It was just like a race to get in the air. They knew we were working on it, but we all had the thought. It's always given to multiple people. So when that download, or
when one of them thinks that, when one of them thinks that the other one now it's accessible. That's why there's a lot of confusion right now. But every thought that goes out is accessible to us. We can pick up on anything and everything that goes out there. Back to that piano thing, just like that. But like you said, how they invented, I think the same thing happened either with the telephone or with the light bulb or whatever. Somebody, whoever thought of it here, almost every one of them. As soon as it goes out and one guy's thinking of it, it triggers something in somebody else's brain, and then they're both putting whatever mathematics in his mind goes out there, and this guy, he's already got the mathematics going out there, and then they both are feeding off each other. So
have you ever?
They're literally helping each other.
Have you ever had such a good idea in your head and like, man, I should create that, invent that, and patent that?
Oh yeah.
And then
a week
6 months later, you see it on TV.
You see it. Oh my God.
So that idea was given to you and given to multiple people. It's gonna, and the universe and spirit keeps giving it to people until someone takes that action to build it.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, someone else will. It's just like people like us that are speaking our truth. If you don't do it, someone else is going to do it. If I didn't do it, someone else would be doing the same thing. And that's just how it goes. You're given these ideas, these these thoughts, these ideas is a good word, I guess. The what to create. Because we're all creator beings. We all create our own reality. reality, so we can create anything you want to create. And like, dude, you don't even know like what I go through in my daily routine to create my day to my life that I want. I'm intense with it, and it all happens. It always happens because I set that up for me. So I've been wanting to do a show on it where it was I wanted to talk about crossing the bridge from esoteric knowledge to living. So it's
Right.
one thing learning all the things, but how do you implement that into your lifestyle and start
Right.
becoming those things? And that's where I'm at. I'm becoming the things that I've been talking and teaching for the last year. And that's why like I really haven't been making a lot of content because I just feel like I'm reverberating the same things. I pretty much said everything I've wanted to say about the topics that I have knowledge on personally and what I feel is true in a lot of things. And that's always evolving as well. But now I'm at a place to where I'm living it instead of just talking about it. You know what I mean? Because at first you learn it, and
Right.
then you go to a point to where you talk about it. You want to teach other people about it. But I want to fully embrace and live it to the extent that it is so obvious. And it is. Like, I have my whole story, and I'm going to put the video together for that one day. From being 250 pounds 3 years ago to being right here, right now, today, who I am as a completely different person, 100%.
Right.
So, it's powerful. And with Cryon, if you don't listen to Cryon, if you're not with like the channeled messaging stuff, I understand. It was hard for me to get into it. Case from Everyday Masters was the one that got me to watch Bashar for the first time, and that kind of snowballed into a lot of different channeled messages. And there's a lot of channelers out there, but you really have to use your discernment for it. You know what I mean? You really, because it's only a handful of people that I feel speak real truth that I've come across. I'm sure there's plenty more, but the ones I've experienced in Cryon is by far the most profound to me. And the teachings that he has are really here to help us get through the times that are coming. And they are coming. They are here. And it's nothing to fear if you can prepare for it. It's a weather cycle. You know, we're just going through a change. So we just got to adapt to it. So it's a good time to learn things that, you know, you might not know, because most people don't know how to, you know, make their own food. So if you don't, find someone, become a friend with someone that knows how to do that, that has the ability to do that. This is the time to find your soul family, to find your group, to find your people. Like, and we all have, like, our group is really unique, right? We all have a different abilities, and that's no accident. We are all a group, and we're all spread out all over the country too, which is another cool thing, because we're all anchoring the same light in this grid that we're creating in this planet. And essentially we're all creating a grid when you're in this lifestyle, because your energy gets anchored into the planet, you know. I could go on all day about this stuff, but it's really it's yeah, I don't know how long we've been talking for here.
I second that.
I
second that.
man, you're looking yeah.
I think we're good.
I can't tell how long
we've been on there.
I feel like it's been probably like an hour.
Yeah,
you're looking good, brother, man. Did you lose some weight?
yeah, I did. Yeah,
Looks like it. I can see it in your face. Like,
but,
oh yeah, get it, yeah.
Well, we finally got back into it. Actually, it's funny because we had been talking about, we got to get in the gym, you know, last year, and you know, you never go, and and then all of a sudden they take it away from you, and it's like, oh my God, now you know, we really have to go, you know. So soon as they opened them back up, you know, we got back in there and stuff. But yeah, I've been doing that intermittent fasting, just really just basically trying to eat in a certain window. It actually works, man. As long as you, and where people screw up, I think, is, you know, it's like 18 and 6 is a good one. Like just, you can only eat from noon to 6 o'clock. You can eat pretty much anything you want, but after that, and, you know, till noon, it's water. A lot of people drink pops, and that's what fucks them up, because it's not about caloric intake. It's about your pH, and it's about your blood sugar levels. And what happens is your body, you know, when you go to sleep, that's when you start to digest your food, and that's when your testosterone's made, and that's when you're starting to build muscle, and all these things are starting to happen. And we get up in the morning and we eat and stop the whole process. The whole process stops immediately. As soon as you drink sugar in your coffee or you do something, because you just spiked your fucking insulin, and now everything is out of whack again. You're all jacked the fuck up. Your digestive system stopped. Everything. You're just. That's why people can't sleep right. They can't eat right. And it's really, if you can get on this program, dude, it really does help. It really does get you.
Have you cut sugar out yet?
No.
I'm telling
No,
you, you gotta try that stevia. That organic stevia stuff is so sweet, but it's like monk fruit derived. Like it doesn't spike your insulin, and you know, you could take enough to where it would, but it doesn't. Like I drink 2 cups of coffee, I put 1 spoonful in each cup because it's twice as sweet as sugar. So I used to put 2 spoonfuls of sugar. I put 1 spoonful of this organic stevia, which is, you know, derived from a fruit. So it doesn't spike your insulin like that.
I'll tell her, she drinks coffee with sugar. I just drink cream. So
hold on, let me show you exactly, because there's a lot. There's a lot of different ones out there that are stevia and they taste terrible. But this is the one you want to get.
let me see it. Let me look at it. Okay.
Yeah, it's like.
Where you get that, Walmart or?
Yeah, Walmart's the only place I've been able to find it. But you can see on the back it says it's twice as sweet. So if you use 2 spoonfuls of sugar, use 1 of this, and use it with baking and everything. They also have a brown sugar, which is great because I use it. I get plain oatmeal and I put brown sugar, and I put like my superfood powder in there. You know, like that little green powder. It's got all those superfoods in them. I have those. I have a regimen of vitamins that I take now. Like,
Didn't you say you've been at the gym?
I've been now. I do it here. I work out every morning. I've been doing it for 2 months now. So I really, and it's just a simple workout, man. Just like with a kettlebell or whatever they call it. I think it's kettlebell. You know, just doing like the plank workout. You know, just doing it.
Right.
And it works out your whole core. Your abs, your arms, your back, your legs, because you squat when you do it, and then you lift, and then you squat, and I tell you, the first time I did it, dude, I was so sore for 4 days, and I did it for 2 minutes, and I could hardly walk the next day. But once that pain, that soreness went away, and then that's when I cut my finger, you know, and I had that whole intuition of seeing it before it happened, and still chose to do it. So I didn't work out for about a week, and then I finally wasn't sore anymore. My finger healed pretty quickly, and I started working out. And I've been doing it in 61 days now. 61 days.
Hell yeah, brother. That's what's up.
I took pictures of
Body is your temple. Body's your temple.
Yeah. And it's the stronger I get physically, the stronger I get mentally and esoterically, spiritually. It's all connected, man. It's all connected.
Right.
So I feel great. I have to have a lot of energy all day, and I try not to. Like actually now, when I drink coffee, like if I drink more coffee, it makes me tired. So I try to stick to 2 little cups in the morning, and maybe 1 at work during the day. But if I drink 2 cups of coffee in the morning at work, I just like start falling asleep because I'm like too much sugar, spike that insulin, and then crash, you know. So it's just a little bit of water. I mean, a little bit of coffee, keep drinking water all day long, and I have a lot of energy because I work 12 hours a day, and I don't sit still. You know what I mean? I'm always on the go. So
Yeah. We better wrap this show up because we're talking about nothing.
I go play. Yeah, there's only like 2 people that stay at the end anyway. And then and then I go play basketball.
We love you. Whoever you are,
we really fucking love you.
Made it to here. We love you.
If you're still watching, comment that you're still watching because I want to know who you are.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Who are
love
you?
the shit out of you.
Who the hell are you?
Yeah. Make sure you hit the like button, like the shit out of it, and send it to 50 people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I work 8 to 8, and then I go. I come home and change, and I go to the basketball court. So I bought a basketball, and I play until I'm just like wore out, and then I go get a ball, and
There you go.
A little bit of sugar. That's been my routine for like 3 weeks with the snowball too. So I've started doing like breaks. So I rest like I may rest one day during the week if I worked out real hard, and then I'll do like a small workout because I'll still do curls and stuff because I'm trying to get them. You know what I mean? Yeah, trying to get things going. But yeah, I've really noticed a difference because I took pictures at the beginning, and then I took a video after 30 days of like my body, and then I did a video at 60 days, and I'm gonna do another one in 90 days. Just
there you go.
And it's between 30 and 60 days, it's a pretty big difference. Like,
Good.
And I'm only doing that one exercise. I just bought a pull-up bar actually, so I'm going to do put that together today and start doing some pull-ups here. Oh, sorry, that might have been loud. So, anyways, we love you guys so much. Thank you for joining us. This was kind of all over the place, but I feel like a lot of things are really important for us to talk about. It's really current, you know, it's what's going on now, and this will apply in the future. Because we were talking about a lot of, I guess you could call them predictions almost, of how this is going to play out and how I think it's going to play out. And the only way that makes sense to me, you know, I'm not saying specific or, you know, a timeline for it, but that's just the only way it's going to work out, in my opinion, for what's going on and how I see things. But again, it's my perspective, and there's millions and billions of other ones that, you know, hopefully we're growing, man. Not hopefully, we are.
Well, people are, you know, one thing's for sure, you know, you're going to be forced either now or later to go within, and you're going to have to deal with the here and now, whether you like it or not. So you might as well start living in the here and now, and you might as well start going within now. And because honestly, it's the only escape, dude. It's the only escape. If you try to look too far outside of yourself and try to look too far into the future, or try to look too far at anything, it's just a fucking, it hurts. It hurts. And we love you guys.
I'm sorry, I got scared.
It works. The system works.
Yeah, it works so well.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.
Love you so much. I'm really trying to get it to a point where we can go live and do these shows live on YouTube. But you know,
I want to just before we end, I just want to ask everybody, the 2 people, the 1 person who made it to here, whoever, do this, man. Just try to do this all week. Put your hand on somebody's shoulder, look in their eyes. You know what I mean? Hug somebody and smile at somebody. Just do it over and over and over again. Touch them, hug them, smile at them. Just start it. They're going to go do it to somebody else, dude. Instead of spreading the corona, let's spread this virus called love. Let's spread this virus called touch. And if we all die from it, hey, if we go out, at least we go out in love and light. You know what I mean?
That's the virus they're really afraid of, is love.
It is.
Because that's the most powerful thing that exists. Love. each and every one of you. Be the change that you want to see in this world, because it all starts right here.
In the heart, baby.
All right, guys.
Peace.
Great. I don't know how to work this, but we'll figure it out.
I'm out of here. Push. Stop.